Welcome back, everyone. My guest today is Jack Bialik. He is the author of Lost in Time. We're having a fascinating interview about some of the mysteries of ancient knowledge that we're just discovering. And somewhat in a curious way, we can't quite understand what our ancestors knew and how they did things in the past. But here we are today. Jack, as you researched this book, you told us it took through 10 years of I guess you motivated, activated research as you discovered this ancient knowledge, which has to be a fascinating read. I mean, what a fascinating subject, lost in time. And of course, you discovering these things, as we said in the previous segment, it was kind of like buried treasure. You know, where is it? So as you struck out on this, first of all, I guess it was curiosity as how these things, a pillar that was in the middle of the desert that didn't rust, uh, crystal skulls, hieroglyphic rings. What else is in this fascinating book that people just need to know?
Yeah. Well, it is interesting if you just watch the news and watch you know, uh different different outlets for information, you'll see these things pop up. One of my favorite ones is the Terracotta Army in China. They have thousands of these terracotta made soldiers and horses and chariots and uh, all sorts of figures that have been made there in China. And it's just an amazing uh, sight to see all these that the Emperor Qin um, had made for his tomb there. But along with these terracotta army figures, they also left swords and bows and arrows and different things that they would use to fight with. Well, the interesting thing about the swords is this. Now this terracotta army was placed underground 2,000 years ago, right? Uh, the interesting thing about these swords is they're still sharp. I mean, if you see a sword that was from the Middle Ages, it's all rusted and, pieces of it are missing because it's been rusted out and, brown. It's not sharp. It's not even whole. Uh, but these swords were still sharp, and it's because they used chrome or chromium in the manufacturing of the swords. And the use of chromium in manufacturing was started in the late 1800s here in modern times. So they had a technique that predated anything we've ever used. But of course, you don't find it anywhere else. So that technique has been lost in time.
Well, that was my next question was, okay, if they have these swords that over 1,000 years or more don't rust or lose their sharpness, why don't we have them reproduce today, And as you say, that knowledge is lost in time. So, it's fascinating how when have you ever noticed when we find something's always in the ground, right? It's
Yeah.
always the ground has protected it. It's in a cave, in a cavern, uh, other than Blackbeard's pirate treasure that was off the coast of the Carolinas, which apparently someplace Rhode Island or Rogue Island, I think was the name because the pirates used to hang out there. The sea has treasure, uh, and it preserves, it, especially in the cold water. But here, just as listening to you talk about your book, Lost in Time, it's like, yes, a lot of the things, knowledge, examples, artifacts, they're in the ground, and that's what's preserved them.
Yeah. Well, that brings up an interesting place. Slivabard, is it Norway? I think it is. Uh, in Slivabard, um, they have a seed bank that they've put. in the ground in the Arctic, um, to try to preserve seeds, and they have millions of seeds from all different sorts of plants and things that they've put in this frozen time bank to save over the ages. But the interesting thing about this seed bank is that it is um, they're having problems with it because the global warming that's going on.
Oh my gosh.
And they don't have the technology to keep it cold enough if the air around it isn't cold. And even though they buried all this stuff in the ground in this huge seed bank, um, if things keep warming up, they're going to lose the seed bank.
So the purpose of the seed bank was to preserve seeds in case some magnetic pulse from space or some tidal wave or tsunami or earthquake destroyed the world, that there would be this supply of seeds, as I
Correct.
remember.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they're having difficulties with global warming and the ice caps melting, of course. It's in Norway. That's kind of up there where the Arctic is. Uh, there's got to be some ancient knowledge somewhere that they can find to discover how to keep that big cave full of seeds cold. But that's an interesting thought. All that effort, preparation to save the world and having seeds for food supply in case something catastrophic happens now is in jeopardy. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. There's other organizations have tried to save knowledge in other ways. There's some that have sent information into space uh, to try to save it there. Um, but I don't know. Some future civilization might have difficulty finding that. Oh, I don't know. I
Well,
don't know what the solution is.
Well, the interesting thing is that, as you said, we're discovering things that we look at, we don't know really what they are. There are clocks, there are devices, combination of wheels and discs that turn. We have no idea what they mean or what they refer to. So as we discover things that were back in the past, that are some sort of instrument, dusted off, cleaned up, or whatever well it might be, we still don't know how to use it. So as we move forward, in your book Lost in Time, what is one of the most important things you're trying to address in the book that people need to find out about Lost in Time?
Yeah. I think the main point of the book, for some time I really struggled with the last chapter. What is the point? So we have all this knowledge, we use it for a while, we lose it. What is the point to all this? And I think what the final thought was is that um, we need to be thoughtful. We need to be humble, first of all, and not think we know everything, and to realize that, if we're smart about things, maybe we could keep it for future generations, to make their life easier or to make their environment easier so that they don't have to live with sewage running down the streets or whatever, so that they can have a good life with uh, and be comfortable. And I think we need to be humble and we need to be thoughtful about what we do. And it takes everybody individually to do that because um, there are so many different facets to the way we live. Yeah, there's technology, but there's also, the clothes we wear and how we live our life and the way we travel and all the different uh, parts to having a comfortable life and living well.
Well, what comes to mind is the way the ancients saved the knowledge was to pass it down from generation to generation verbally. through stories and songs. You think we're going to head that way with our computer hard drives and cell phones and iPads and all those things that have Google, AI? I mean, my gosh, yeah. What do you think about that? You think, as far as how we can save and preserve? The,
Yeah. I, yeah, thinking about AI, I think it may be able to help us if we use it the right way, and come up with techniques or strategies that could keep things for a longer period of time and to use them the right way. Um, of course, things powerful like that can always be used for negative things as well, but I think it could help us. It's interesting. There's a story about, I think it was Socrates. I think when books first came out, they felt a lot of the philosophers at the time felt that it was the end of mankind because
really?
we would never be able to remember anything anymore because it was in a book. So the mind was going to become flaccid, and unused. Well, that isn't what happened at all. The book helped keep information for a longer period of time. I remember the same thing happening when the calculator came out, the little handheld calculator. We thought, oh, no, that's the end of math. People are never they're gonna become stupid, you know. But that isn't what happened at all. We went on and went to bigger things and used the calculators to help us figure things out quicker and better and faster. So I think if we just stay on that path, and even with AI, if we use it to our advantage, I think it can help us too.
The author is Jack Bialik. The book is called Lost in Time. Amazing interview as we talk to you, my friend, finding out about how the ancients survived and thrived and had more advanced knowledge back then than we have today. The book is available at JRBIALIK, jrbalick.com. It's also available on Amazon and it's available from Barnes& and Noble. There's a copy of the book, Lost in Time, something you must get, our forgotten and vanishing knowledge. So go get it right away today. It's going to be an important read for you. Thank you very much for being on the show today, Jack. It was an enlightening topic, no doubt. I mean, something that's thought-provoking, lost in time, valuable knowledge, and how we're going to save it, and how we're going to move forward from here. Thank you for being my guest today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Soul Report as well. We hope today's conversation has enriched your journey and ignited the new perspectives, maybe triggered your curiosity, something that we hope to have you back on the show for. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories and to follow us on the social media channels. Please subscribe. It means a lot to us and helps us continue putting forward this important show. Until next time, keep nurturing your spirit, seeking knowledge, and spreading positivity. And remember, the growth of your soul is the most exciting journey you can embark upon. Peace and prosperity to you. I'm your host, Dr. Douglas James Cottrell. Until next time, God bless.